the the intent, and I'm going to break it down for everybody to understand what a powerful affirmation looks like and how to utilize it. It's totally up to each individual whether or not they want to delve into this affirmation. But my thinking was when I kind of came up with it was if we were all saying the same thing daily, then we're calling in on the universe to deliver, all right, in a different way. And it's just kind of like the power of prayer. I've amazing story of this gentleman that was saved by the power of prayer, and I believe in the power of prayer. And that's kind of what this is. This affirmation is kind of like a power of prayer. And so if we're all doing it together, then we have we're just upping the odds of bringing it in. Another thing that I've been listening to a lot of because of my stomach issue and everything that's been going on with me, I have been doing a lot of meditations lately, and this one meditation went into great depth about attachment. And you've heard me say this before because I learned it from Nurka, is don't be attached to the outcome. Because when you're attached to the outcome, you're actually coming from a place of lack rather than a place of abundance. And when you're doing these affirmations, you want to be coming from a place of abundance already, and you're not attached to the outcome. So maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, great. But if you have this thing like, I have got to build my business now, I have got to make $10,000 a month right now, that's good maybe as a driver, but definitely not as an affirmation. Because what does it presuppose? It presupposes that you don't have abundance in your life. And so that's why we say it comes from a place of lack. And so if you have that kind of mindset, what the energy that's outputted is actually an energy of lack. And lack is more of what you're going to get. And I'm sure you've maybe have come across this in your life in various ways where you really wanted something, it just didn't happen. You forgot about it, and then all of a sudden it happened. I know I've had that occur in my life a couple times. So that is something to be very aware of, and that's why I wanted to break down this affirmation. Hello, Janine and Barbara, and I know Zeph is here as well. That's why I wanted to break this down. And again, you can use it, you cannot. That's totally up to you. If you already got ones that you're currently using, your affirmations, then fantastic. If you don't, maybe this is a good start for you. And the reason why I want to break it down is because you want to make this personalized to you. So this is personalized to me. I'm putting it out there to the group so that we can all put some synergy behind it, but you definitely want to make it personalized to you. So let's get into this. If you hadn't seen it already, this was the affirmation, okay? I'm enthusiastically welcoming into my sponsor tree professional networkers who this is what was the verbiage change, who are exploding my business, generating even greater abundance, financial freedom, peace, and joy right now. So if we get into this to break it down, it starts with I am. That is a declaration. So when you start an affirmation, generally it's going to start with the words I am. All right. That makes it connected to who you are, and you are declaring to the universe, to the world, to God, whatever, this is me. This is what this is about me. This is for me. This is me. My am is a declaration to the universe. Enthusiastically welcoming brings the emotion with action. So whenever you take I don't know, my English grammar is really bad, but whenever you take what is it, a noun or a verb, a noun, and you add the ing to it, like welcome versus welcoming, brings action to that word. All right. So enthusiastically is emotion. For me at the time when I came up with this, I was like super enthusiastic. And the welcoming is an action. So we're enthusiastically welcoming into my sponsor tree. Why sponsor tree rather than my organization? Anybody? because that's where the ranks are created, right? And how do you make more money at Sealy is by getting a higher rank. So it's not necessarily into my organization, into my left leg or my right leg for the team bonus. No, it's into my sponsor tree. And it needs to be in two different legs, right? Not just one leg in my sponsor tree. So think about that as we're moving along on this too, right? So when you think a sponsor tree, you're immediately thinking of at least two legs. Now I could put that into at least two legs of my sponsor tree, but then it starts getting a little bit long too. So this is where you got to personalize it for you. For me, I'm seeing two, three, four sponsor tree legs on both my left and right side. Then it's a total win, right? Because now I'm not only building my team volume, but I'm also building rank in that. So into my sponsor tree, professional networkers. Notice I did not say professional network marketers, right? Because there's some great influencers out there that are amazing networkers that can explode your business as well. They don't have to be professional network marketers, although that is my primary intent for me, right? I'm looking for that professional networker that already has a team of 2, 5, 10,000 or more people that is looking for a new company. So if you're not familiar, the way this works in network marketing is you have a leader, a big leader, right? I would, let's say Davide, because everybody's familiar with Davide and he's a big networker, right? So Davide's got a team of about 90,000 people right now. So Davide, for whatever reason, is now looking for a new company. All right. Davide finds new company. Davide starts calling through his downline, especially his personally sponsored team members, because he's allowed to do that even with our policies and procedures. And he brings over 5, 10,000 people like overnight. What does that look like? Right? So there are professional network marketers out there right now. Brad did this at least three times with Elka and I, where the company folded for whatever reason, and now Brad is looking for a new company. And he would bring over thousands of people almost overnight. So why not have some professional network marketers that are looking for a new company and we attract those into our individual sponsor tree legs, right? Or an influencer, somebody that's big on social media that has 100,000 followers, and they make one announcement about Sealy and you sell 10,000 bottles. That's huge, right? So we're enthusiastically welcoming in to our sponsor tree professional networkers. And again, if you want to make that network marketers, that's fine. But we're basically looking for influencers, people that can sell a lot of volume in a very quick manner and bring on a lot of new customers and slash members, affiliates, all right, who are exploding my business. We've got action with emotion, right? Exploding brings with it a visceral feeling of wow, right? Boom. So what does it mean to you, right? What does that actually look like to you? How many signups per day, per week, per month can you envision? I know when Europe was taking off, they were 200 to 300 signups per day. Can you even imagine that in your group? I mean, you're happy if you get one or two maybe right now, or 5 or 10 for the month. But can you allow yourself to envision hundreds joining a day, thousands joining a week? I mean, definitely thousands within a month. Can you see what that looks like on the sign up report? This is where that part of when you're reading an affirmation, you're just not reading the words. You're allowing it to sink in and you're visualizing this happening. And so you say the affirmation and now you're breaking it down visually, mentally, emotionally, bringing action into it for a period of time, and then you read it again and you do that whole process over again. And then you read it a third time. That's why I took it from 10 times down to 3 to 5 times, because if you're really doing this correctly, you're taking the time to envision the future as if it's in the now, right now. that this has already happened. All right. It's in almost like it's in the past. So you can literally see your sign up report with thousands of people at the end of the month having joined your business. And then how do you see the volume growing? What does your team bonus volume look like? What does your carryover volume look like? What does your sponsor tree volume look like? What do you need to get to that next rank? Can you see that clearly? So if you're a C4 trying to go to a C5, can you see the 15,000 in volume required very clearly? Like it's like no big deal. Oh yeah, man, 15,000 happens every single month. It's no big deal. If you're a C2 trying to go to C3, same thing, right? So that's what you want to be kind of thinking about when you're reading. You're not just reading the words. And then the last part of it is generating even greater abundance, financial freedom, peace, and joy right now. Well, what does abundance mean to you? And you can change these words, obviously, right? This is a template. But again, the closer we stay with all of us thinking along these same lines, the greater the synergy to actually physically attract that into our businesses. So, what does abundance mean to you? What does financial freedom mean to you? It's going to be a different number for each one of us. It's not going to be $10,000 a month for everybody. And some people may need 20,000, maybe need 30,000 to truly have financial freedom. All right. But maybe it's just 1,000. Maybe it's just $500. For a lot of people, $500 to $1,000 a month would help them get out of debt. So is extra 500 or $1,000 for that person you're talking to in the grocery store or the waitress or waiter or whatever it might be. I mean, Donnie just reached out when they were having lunch at Detroit on their layover out east. She prospected the waitress and got her very, very interested, right? So, what does financial freedom mean to you, and what does it look like? Right? What would you do with all that extra time if you didn't have a job, if you didn't have, most of us are retired here, but for as you're teaching this down as well, or what greater choices does that financial freedom actually give you, right? When you're making decisions along your day. And then peace. What does peace mean to you? Peace for me is the ultimate in doing this network marketing. And so I don't have stress in my life, right? So that I can live a stress-free life. So peace means to me that everything's right in the world, right? And then joy. In my book, I separate the difference for me between joy and happiness. When I came up with that, I had never seen anyone else write about that or talk about that the way that I do. Since I wrote the book, I've seen something from Oshi, who has written something like that, and I've come across a couple other writings that are similar, but it's very rare. And so if you haven't read my book, if you don't remember, I'll just refresh everybody's memory. Joy to me is being connected to your I am. That means there is nothing in this world that can bother you because you are so connected. You find that inner joy, the gratitude of being alive, being able to breathe, being able to see whatever. That is joy. And then happiness is what you attract. Your inner joy attracts the happiness around you. And that's what brings happiness into your life. But if you don't have that inner joy first, you'll never attract the happiness. That's why people are constantly depressed or constantly negative and stuff because they're not connected to who they truly are deep within themselves. And that's got to happen first. So what does joy mean to you? What is, so anyhow, that's kind of it. And so I wanted to cover that to help people understand when you're developing an affirmation, it's got to have that meaning. It's got to have that deep, soulful meaning. So this was mine. I'm pawning it off onto everybody else. But of course, you want to personalize it, make it your own. But that's why there's also generalizations in there so that you can, because you do want to attach specific numbers to that. When you say, for instance, financial freedom, you're picturing in your mind that 2,000 or 5,000, $10,000 a month, right? So that is how you go through an affirmation. That is how you utilize it. And again, I threw it out there for everybody. If you want to partake in that for, however long, you're more than welcome to. I can tell you that I am doing it and I believe in it. I believe in affirmations. I just know that it can be a challenge, right? because you're trying to trick the subconscious mind into, well, the subconscious mind knows I don't have $10,000 a month coming in right now for my Sealy business, right? So you're doing that as a trick. Now, another way to go about this is with the empowering questions, which we've also talked about. You take the affirmation and you turn it into a question, right? So you could say something like that. How can I enthusiastically welcome into my sponsor tree professional networkers who explode my business, generating even greater abundance, financial freedom, peace, and joy right now? What assets do I have that can help me attract professional networkers to explode my business, generating blah, 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 blah? So who, what, how, where, and when, right? So the who, how, and what are the primary ones that you use to generate an empowering question. If you forget about how to do that, that's also in my book. In one of the later chapters, I go into great detail how to develop an empowering question. Because when you put it in a question format, you're no longer trying to trick the subconscious mind. Now you are calling into the universe, hey, I'm trying to solve a problem. Help me solve this problem. And the thing about the subconscious mind is it never sleeps. So even while you're sleeping at night, the subconscious mind is racking its brain out to figure out how to help solve your problem. That's what they do. All right. That's what it does. So you can also put this into a question format or have it simply as an empowering affirmation.